And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the PEL Phase 3 TSM. Bit of head scratching after that one. Didn't work out as planned up on the ridge line. The big nade, the big bomb from Aitzy kind of settled it. And as the FaZe said, they just surrounded them the second they knew it. They realized, and rightly so, predicted that they were the only problem they were going to have on that ridge.
I'm intrigued to know if it was just a damn good nade, or if they were getting a little bit overzealous. What the hell are you doing, Page? Yeah, now he realizes he's been spotted. What game do you think he's playing doing that? Or is that just the 249? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Here we go again. Go on. You alright, man? Someone go see if he's okay.
I want to know what the reference is. There's a reference to something. I can't think what game it is. Well, film or anything.
I'm a little bit confused by it now.
We're too old.
Kind of
We're too old, Rich. We're too old. We don't know the references.
What was the...
Someone that's not looking too happy, does he? But then again, when does he ever look happy?
What was the guy who used to wear the bandit?
Geordie, Star Trek, you're thinking, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, but that wasn't the Star Trek reference. That was definitely not.
Oh yeah,
that was a machine gunner reference.
Looks like some kind of minigun.
Cheeky
reference,
eyebrows. How are you doing?
But yeah, I'm intrigued to kind of go back to it a little bit. What went wrong for TSM there? Whether or not they did get overzealous and went a bit too far
with the crate. Yeah.
With the crate. I mean, there was 2 times we flipped. I'm pretty sure there were 2 times we went on Gustav's POV and he had no helmet, so everyone on. He was trying to get the gear out of it, and any level 3 gear is going to kind of prove its dividends and worth its weight in gold. Should you be able to use it and abuse it, to be fair, but I don't know. They clustered up a little bit too much, and that nade found its mark. 2 for 1 really opened it up, and honestly, for both of those teams, either one who won that battle was A, going to come out on top and win the game, and B, was taking home an absolute tanking of points.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever came out on the ridge line, because I think TSM had about 10 kills when they went down, right? They were 9 or 10 kills. So yeah, they came out with a load of points. So it's...
you hold the ridge and you just basically farm everyone.
Yeah, because they'd farm down low. Like FaZe were farming the one side, they were farming the other.
When you think about it, both of them kind of had the same approach, just from either side of the ridge, really. They had the same exact mirror image on the ridge lines from both craters either side of it, and just slaughtered everyone below them.
I was talking to Monkey in the bathrooms. As where the conversations tend to flow.
Just don't shake hands.
Just don't shake hands and look down. But yeah, you got basically. I was saying it's like, well, if you could have come in behind G2, like they knew where TSM and G2 were, it's like that could have been position, but they carried on north, right? They were in the position of coming straight behind. It's like, well, you could have been top 5 if you'd have gone that way. I said, yeah, but it was a 50-50 gamble of does the circle go? If the circle goes north, we're great. To the south, but I said, when have you ever seen it go La Cabrera wide? Every time I see that circle, it comes out of La Cabrera, and they always pull down, and there's always that bloodbath at the wall. But it's, you know, we thought we'd saw an opportunity, and also we didn't think there was going to be that many teams in North because of the circle position, etc. But that's just how it is. Everybody looks at the playing path, and you got to work off the information you got as a team. And obviously, it's great for us to look at the map and know exactly what's going on. You never really know until it's been scouted in game what sort of ridge lines and stuff they've seen. And sometimes compounds can be a little tucked away, and you just don't see a team and accidentally pull up. But this time, don't think we're going to have that problem. It's a dead center circle.
And not only that, we had a dead center flight path as well. So everybody home turf.
You had a San Martin last week, didn't you?
We did. That was interesting.
Missed out my urban finish, and NIP obviously came out on top in that one. I'm
trying to remember where exactly that one kind of. Okay, yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
it was similar. It was similar to this.
I love urban combat.
I'm a massive fan of it because look, we're both close quarter combat players from our days. Our days. My days are a bit older than your days.
A little bit. Los Leones, though, when you see those finishes, we've only really had the pleasure of doing a big game. I think it was the one, that G2 one, where you had Samty on one of the roofs. But yeah, they're good fun, especially when you see someone up in the building sites and so on and so forth. But this time round, could go anywhere. We don't necessarily know. You won't see too many deeper rotations. Maybe the few odd adjustments to that central road that runs between Picado and Hacienda. Pick up one of the priority compounds along there. Another potential is the ridges that kind of sit above San Martin. Where's he heading?
James is off already, looking for one of those houses.
So is Gustav.
And Gustav, they're going to actually collect each other. They're both going for the same compound. Ah, Gustav saw him coming. So that was the compound. So both TSM and Team Liquid wanted that central, but that was almost pinpoint central position. So
I think that's pretty cool that you can see the ideology of these teams, that they have the same kind of thought process and understanding.
Well, from this big warehouse, obviously we've seen Team Liquid getting wiped out there famously in the FaZe Global Summit. It's such a large compound to try and defend that Gustav just went to, which I guess TSM are probably going to end up in. There's also the compound just over the road, right, which we've seen the circle go to a number of times as well. So these, I mean, they're just trying to find the strongest compound, the easiest defensible compound.
The strong point about where Liquid, I mean, both teams have gone for that one for two reasons. One, it's quite small and condensed. It's very it's central as well. I mean, that's the biggest point. It's central, but it's quite small and condensed, so it gives you easy accessibility to defend it from the main road should players, because generally that's where they're going to come from. But more importantly, it also gives you access over the hillside. Should this circle bop itself over to the west and cause you problems, you've got that main road that you can get yourself up. So it's a really good position for mobility, and the availability of land that it gives you moving from there to take your next approach is fine. You touched on Gustav's position. It's not too bad of a place at all. It is hard to defend, especially when you have those back open areas near the silos, but it doesn't give, should, for instance, this circle hardship to the west, you don't have that maneuverability that Liquid now has and the ability to make it upside that hill.
Does Sadovnik take it? Yes, you're damn right he does. Mini 14. He's a big fan of that Mini 14. The Mini for a long time. I remember casting Sadovnik years ago in the old GLL days.
I'm a big fan of his car. Have you seen that bad boy outside?
Yeah, it's a nice beam of that one.
That's a monster. Oh, that is...
Oh, he is lit up.
Oh, if he hits that. That.
Yeah.
Run, Vad. Hide.
Ditch the bike.
Hide. Immediately.
I'll get the bike in a minute, don't worry. Gets himself in. He's managed to get 2 medkits in there as well. He'll just be able to heal himself back up to full. This circle, of course, you know, the fact that it is a central point, it does benefit just about everyone. The playing path was fine for it, so I doubt whether we're going to get too many crazy scenarios early on. Most teams will be centering up fairly safely. Obviously, the likes of TSM, NIP, and Team Liquid will be there first because, you know, it's pretty much in their backyard. But we also have Reciprocity making their ways across. G2 actually coming over a bit earlier than usual. And DA. I'm wondering where DA are going to end up here because they're coming out of Los Leonas, and they are a team that loves to go pretty much as plumb central as you can at some point. But it looks like they're going to choose to stick out on the hillside for now.
We shouldn't see too many rotational deaths. Hell, we might even still see a full...
It might be a quiet
16.
phase 1.
It might be a quiet phase 2, to be fair. If it goes central again, everyone's generally going to stay where they are. There's no massive reasons to move. With these kind of circles, though, well, one, you don't want to lose anybody. It's not shameful or anything, but it's certainly disappointing if you lose somebody because it's such a centralized circle and everyone should kind of know the gist of where everyone likes to rotate and how people like to rotate, so you have that good level of information. But more importantly is that this is a good circle for you to plan your next approach. No matter what happens, maybe if it even means splitting a few players here and there, Liquid, opposite ends, should I say, of the road. As example, Rec have spread a little bit. Miise and the rest of CrowCrowd, they've all gone to a certain compound where FaZe might actually magnetize to should they think it's a viable place to stick. G2 still playing edge. It's a thing that we're seeing quite a lot from G2, that they do play not necessarily a late game, but they're not central players by any means whatsoever. They're always sticking kind of towards the outskirts or at least between 500 meters as such. I think they could go a little bit more aggressive. I certainly think they have the ability and the manpower to do so, get CrzyZZ stuck in there, but you need all the team to commit, and they do like to flex and they do like to split, even on single players and solo players. So they're not the team that would do it because of how, again, passive's not the right word. We'll stop on this and we'll hold for a second because CrowCrowd holding this position has caused FaZe a few problems. They've pulled up, not realised they're there.
But look at the mentality of the pro players right there. So if you're at home, you've been playing, Uber literally pulled up, danger situation, bam, out the car, abandon it, gone. Doesn't try and save it, doesn't try and rescue it, just like, I'm getting out of there, that's too risky, and instantly disengages. Realizes potential for a flank.
Quick jump.
Good work here from the likes of Aitzy to spot the danger early on.
bigger issue, they can't disengage from this one because you have reals unwanted watching this from the power grid. If they have range, it'll be a difficult angle, but there will be some kind of angle.
But somebody's watching CrowCrowd.
Oh,
It's
no.
Na'Vi from behind, and that's actually an open back. So CrowCrowd, yeah, all they've got to do is try and return fire and keep them heads down.
It's almost a similar mirrored image on the opposing side. So both of these teams are going to be locked together. The only real way they can get out of it is either A, they fight, or B, they grab the vehicles and just bomb it out of there.
Going to be a slow phase one, as expected. So we did have a couple of knocks, but nobody going to go down in the first phase with such a big central point. We'll see G2 still on the move, along with Desperados just edging their positions. TSM have got a really wide spread, haven't they? That's a very ballsy spread, especially with Raise Your Edge getting pretty much in Hacienda.
If anyone's watching the map, though, right now on the map stream, you'll see Braexco is really not confused, but certainly not dead set on where he wants to go, and that's because of TSM's split.
Well,
They've taken 4 solo positions, and now G2 is basically forced to commit to the center of the field.
That compound that he's just gone into, if I'm not mistaken, is very, very hard to scout. It's one of those sort of tucked away compounds, if I'm not mistaken. Oh God, that's a pull. Well, it's gone to the power grid. We've seen it finish on the power grid a bunch of times, but the Pittsburgh Knights are absolutely laughing. But look at the rotations; they're going to kind of have to come out here. N47, obviously a southern route, but everybody that committed to that central point, they're kind of clustered.
So the problem here, where you see the Knights now, if you are looking at the map, you will basically see from San Martin a ridge that follows all the way around in a curvature. It comes down past where Liquid are, it heads down to the south and then turns to the west. Basically encapsulates the power grid into a rather large crater. The circles will not go on those edges. This, in theory, should sink to the middle. The power grid now is the biggest hotspot in this game. Yes, it could still go anywhere, but certainly that will be a prime target for teams who want to get a good foothold in these later circles.
That is a big commitment from Team Liquid, sorry. We talked about it, right? There's the reason they went for that compound just down low so they could get up on the hill, go up on that road, get into that central point if it pulled to the left, which it did. So now we see Team Liquid immediately catching the Knights almost on the run as they were trying to backpedal. They'd committed to the 2 compounds on the right-hand side where Team Liquid are right now. They caught Pittsburgh Knights completely napping there, caught one of their players off guard. But look at these rotations. NIP almost sending it for the ditches. They're going to go into the other compound, the edge warehouse of the power grid. This is where a play they've done multiple times before and shared it with the Knights.
There's still... This could go anywhere. You know, let's be realistic on this one. We could still have hardships. But that we do know that, again, these ridge lines, even towards the west,
7 doing the same.
These edges will not be in, so you need to get a good foothold of when this circle could next move. Vard back to back, finds Edelweiss and instants him completely. Scooms on the same towards Digital Athletics, but now they will have to keep control of this one. I believe currently we are at the backside of the power grid. Yes, we are, and this is where, as you touched on, we do see sharing happen. I want to see the Knights commit the full team to this, though, because they are split right now for movement.
Oh dear.
Reels and his teammate will be forced to hold this on their own, and if any more teams rock up, they'll be in dire straits to defend that one single compound from the back on you, Todd. You could be in trouble because we've also got Liquid who are knocking at the gates, and the problem is there's only one real place to go after theirs because M47 will hold them from the backside.
Big random rotate from
That's
ENCE,
a big shot.
ENCE.
That's a huge shot. That's through the window, right?
That's into wanted. Well, we'll see where they're pushing. I don't think they're going to push it. No, they're not going to. 7 got themselves in safe in that. Oh, but they're in that ditch. This is like the nade ditch that everything can gravitate towards and just roll on down in towards you. That's such a risky spot for 7. Luckily, no one's close enough yet, but we'll see whether that plays out that way. Reciprocity are moving on the ridgeline back behind DA on the compound. CrowCrowd getting the revive. They've got Desperado coming in from the north side of them and FaZe to the south. So kind of wedged at the moment. You can see FaZe Clan on that ridgeline. They've gone for a 2-2 split either side of the main road, not committing too far in. ENCE, however, you know, famously used to be very good at reading the circles, has kind of slipped away from them in the last sort of 2 phases, but the first phase, they were very good at predicting where this circle was going to go. And it seems they've got themselves a bit of open free space on the western side at the moment.
We also got these ridges in the middle. The next circle kind of should dictate. So it hits, and we know for a fact now that we are basically going to the north, anywhere between Power Grid and just to the outskirts of San Martin where TSM are. generally, we should be ending there. There's a possibility that we get it more towards, you know, if you want to say DA is a bigger example, but anywhere between DA,
look at Team Liquid,
the trifecta of Power Grid, and then TSM.
They've instantly gone for those ditches. DA were running towards it, actually. They were running towards those ditch lines, and that's where they were hoping to get to, but Team Liquid have beat them to it. So DA might find themselves in trouble. M47 are going for the ditch. The Knights were trying to... The instant that Team Liquid moved out of that position, the Knights wanted to move into it and vacate it. M47 are kind of chasing him in there at the moment. Page has found himself in a little bit of trouble, though, because the rest of his team are not there quick enough, but Drayden's head gets caught by Page. Now, can Evil and T-Bone get in and support him? Vasco is now there. They're holding on the ridge line in the distance. You can see them in the distance there. Vasco will finish that off as Wanted tries to catch the nade down on them. But the Knights, they've lost 2 players here, and it's all happening in their backyard.
I'm kind of I'm kind of confused as to why they split up initially. They should have just stuck where they were. In that back building, you have a lot of overview of what's going on. You can overwatch all the battles from, again, where Wanted went down. He took a bullet to the head through the little letterbox, and that came from the other side of NIP. If all 4 players had stuck there, it's big enough. It's easily defendable because you're up on top. Why they didn't stick there? I don't know. Maybe they were looking for a way out should they have gone down more towards the west. TSM are also pulling in just a little bit because everyone knows now down in the south is not where you want to be with this type of circle. Liquid have squared up central. They'll take control of that now. There is a ditch on the opposing side of the road which TSM will get into, but the bigger problem for them is that you have 3 teams that are elevated above them. G2 are in the buildings on the front apartments of San Martin. You'll have some kind of viewership once TSM move out of that. That goes for the same for Na'Vi, although at a very smaller because you've only got 2 levels to the buildings they're in. Liquid, another big problem. All these teams, right now, TSM is praying that they do not have frag grenades because any nades that go rolling their way are going to completely destroy them in one.
G2 would just be able to literally like hole in one.
It's good cover, but
down.
The problem is that it's very condensed and grenades will literally roll towards you across the road.
6mo. The IGL for DA, as far as I'm aware, is scouting out what he can from that hillside. He wasn't looking for frags, he was looking for simple information plays and seeing what he could see. You can see Na'Vi, they realize that obviously they know G2 is down the south one, but the problem is they have Raise Your Edge above them as well in that other compound. So it's a tricky spot for Na'Vi to try and get out of, but the circle could go that way. We've seen it finish actually on that compound before, which is maybe why they've tried to commit to it. You think it's going north? I don't think so. It's going down to Power Grid. And now the Knights' play looks even more questionable of why they made that move for the ditch, but they've still managed to keep 2 alive. And, well, FaZe Clan, once again, who've been playing edge, could work the way up. The problem is, this western side, it's sloped downwards, right? It's really tricky to get up there.
It's quite open as well, which is even more of a problem. For GamerLegion, this is favourable, just because they can kind of chill. And if anyone wants to try and get behind them, it'd be difficult because of the ridgelines and they'll be seen in the open terrain. So a bit of a fair amount of viewership. There was a play for Desperados and TSM should this have gone north, and that's kind of what they were hoping for. Had it have gone north, it would have been extremely messy. You'd have had the road kind of split in between 2 battles. This now causes problems that are going to be on your screen. Both CrowCrowd and Desperados have a very treacherous fight amongst one another because once they've done this, they then get fed to the wolves. FaZe Clan at the bottom of this hill. Who comes out on alive? I've no idea, but once you're done and dusted, and if all this is going on, Desperados are also being hit from a different angle. There is a 1v1 going on in the bottom of your screen right now. Yeah,
Michael's getting absolutely pummeled from every direction. The rest of his team, we saw them, they're in the ditch. They made that move, so it's basically between SIMSY, the IGL. Oh no, Tiikzu sees the backside of Calvin, gets the head, manages to try and flush him, and it couldn't quite get there. Knocked down. He did see 2 CrowCrowd members going down, by the way. Oh, Timmy's on the flank. He knows where TomiL is. Has him dead to rights here. He's going to pop in that buggy, but that may well be the last of it. Timmy's just going to run. The blues ticking on him. It's certainly hurting enough. And he's going to be happy just to get to that rock.
He doesn't really have time to shoot here, so he just needs to keep on going. Because the way that they are working currently, it's going to be going to a faster side of the circle. They can come down towards the south, and it will be slower, and it'll give them more time. But again, at the foot of this mountain, we have several teams. On one side, you're going to have TSM. On the other, you can have FaZe Clan. I wonder if G2 actually potentially push TSM out of that gap now, because that ditch, from becoming quite an exposed and potential bombardment area, now actually becomes a really good setting ground.
I mean, it's the only position they can make. They either go across the road straight into Na'Vi and raise your edge, which is not really a play that's ever going to work. Or
they'll have to go uphill, surely.
They've got to push onto the back of TSM. There's no choice, as far as I can see it, unless they go even further up the hill, in which case I don't think that's really going to work. They are indeed going to choose to go for TSM. TSM going to react in kind, and they do manage to get one down with a nade. That Yanis was very close to the second one. Braexco goes off the left-hand side of his screen on a flank, though, so they've got to keep an eye on him if they don't realize his position. Gustavs goes aggressive, goes on the push, catches the head of CrzyZZ, but doesn't manage to flush him down. Just backs away from that molly damage, but they did get Nels down.
I really like how TSM are playing this rather than sitting back and doing nothing. They're actually playing aggressive, which, again, they won't have the information on the side of G2, so they don't expect them to be so close.
CrowCrowd have just totally banjoed the whole G2 plan. Braexco's flank has just been completely undone because there's CrowCrowd. CrowCrowd just rotated around in a bike or a buggy, I don't know what it was, but it absolutely has screwed G2 so badly, and it's just completely wrecked the entire flank, the entire tactic that was going on. CrowCrowd will go down with them, but G2 are going to follow straight behind.
We should expect surely to see G2 any... Oh, there we go. Somebody say that. Thank you very much. Pokemon sends a grenade from across the road. There's the welcome package. CrzyZZ has fallen. We keep centralizing over towards the power grid, which we did speculate could happen here. And this is why teams really centralize towards those main buildings. Now we have 5 teams sharing it. The Knights, N47, granted Little Planet Players, 7, NIP, and Digital Athletics. No one in the central side, everybody holding on the outskirts.
Oh no. So ubah having a little peek there. I'll tell you what, it could be the Aitzy and ubah show again. We got ENCE over here, but this time Rustanmar not falling for it. Oh, but look at this from range. The cover fire coming in, but Aitzy's gone. FaZe are massively spread out. It was a good 2-2 earlier on, but at this phase 5, they are too far spread, it seems. TSM, they've made the play across the road, but it's not going to be enough. Desperados will go down. SIMSY the last man for them. GamerLegion got themselves a decent amount of south space. I'm interested by ENCE. Obviously, they're making this play and trying to swing around because it's much better angle down there, but it's not going to work out. TSM pulling straight on FaZe.
FaZe Clan actually extended their arms reach into the circle to give them a bit more of a defensive stance. They've been watching all these fights going on down towards the south of the road. And for them, they wanted to kind of stop any advancement. They knew where these fights would be, but TSM, from up high, they don't realize that Gustav's there. The problem is Na'Vi are late to the party. They get stabbed in the back. 2 players instantly fall. And once again, unfortunately, TSM has just been broken to pieces in one quick swoop. Gustav left to run the gauntlet on his own. Team Liquid now. The chariot kind of falls into their hands. They can play border control. They got Gustav and they got Na'Vi. 4 players to deal with. Provided Scoom doesn't get involved and wreck, which they are because they're up high. They've got 2 minis that can overwatch this entire fight. All these teams are going to be on red alert.
Yeah, they're looking to just get some third party going on rec here. It's great for them. They're on the eastern edge of the circle at the moment, trying to work what they can. DA, by the way, managed to make it into the warehouses of Power Grid. Are we ever surprised that DA managed to find a central compound at some point? They will always commit, and half the time they really make it work for themselves. So Reciprocity do collect them kills. So Monkey will take that down. Odia's gone across. He's just got a tier 3 items because they've just got a crate. Reciprocity did there. Is it going to be taxi service? It may well be because Udia just went over there, gave something to someone and is boosted straight back on the bike. So bit delivery there maybe. Not too sure. GamerLegion got a good spread down south. ENCE are on the west, and FaZe have regrouped up in the north and pushing towards the ditch that holds 7 at the moment. Team Liquid, remember they went central. They made that big move play earlier on. Well, it's backfired on them now because how are they going to get into this warehouse?
The saving grace is that in the warehouse you've got DA, and that's no disrespect, but they're a passive team. One of their biggest flaws, in my opinion, is that they sit and they camp and they wait for players to come towards them, where you will see other teams go on the offensive and defend these compounds. They literally will wait until the players are inside the buildings to then take the fight. When they force the fight, understandably now they are keeping their head in, and that's for the simple fact that NIP has at least 1 sniper rifle and plenty of range to maybe get a few pop shots onto them because they're only a hop, skip and a jump away onto the next compound. So I kind of understand if that's the logic, but generally speaking, they're a very sit down, await the circle kind of team.
Seven are trying to engage on ENCE, and FaZe are just creeping up the hill behind them. They're almost in the ditch. You can see they're just slowly getting and closing the web in. Sadovnik's the man that's trying to keep them at bay. The IGL 4-7, but mxey's just waiting. Sadovnik clearly senses something is coming. Here comes mxey over the brow of the hill. Sadovnik is looking. He's got a Mark 14. He could go full auto on that one. Switches over to the AK. mxey's just going to toss that nade over towards Krabic, though. Sadovnik, are they expecting him up close and personal? I'm not too sure they are, because they're looking at the players in the distance and not realizing there's somebody in the ditch next to them.
Yeah, they're kind of shuddering here. They're getting shot by two different teams, which is kind of breaking them apart slowly but surely. Speaking of broken apart, a beautiful... So we had Reciprocity, NIP, and Digital Athletics all do damage onto Team Liquid and take them out of the competition, so another rough one. Buster is looking for the face. He finds it onto ubah, puts him down. Two players still remaining from FaZe Clan. Any grenade that comes flying this way will end his life. And it's actually Vard from a distance. No, excuse me, it was the grenade in the end.
Yep.
And they managed to pick up the kills.
So mxey will go down, FaZe will get back on their feet. They should be able to get Fuzz back up as well, who's in the distance. And I was talking about, this is the hill we were talking about. The problem with this is it's such an open, sloped hill. It really all works against you. Any nades that get tossed out towards you generally will find those little ditches that you're trying to hide in. miikaz trying to use the smoke. Oh, Fuzz actually looks like he might bleed out unless they can get to him. He will, so Vard will finish him off. So FaZe down to 2. NIP looking good in their compound. Remember, they committed to that a long time ago, thinking this circle was going to go this way, still with 4 in there. Here's ubah very much earlier on doing some work. Great to see the Russian doing some fantastic work, but at the moment he is back on his feet and revived.
I'm intrigued to see where this circle goes, because if it goes square central, you've got a massive amount of land that's basically untouched, because no one can make it inside to the actual power grids themselves. All the little, whatever you want to call them. I don't know.
It's gone to the warehouse. It's actually very rare it goes into it. It normally pulls, which is where FaZe were, it normally pulls to those ditches, right? That's where we've seen it so often, but it has actually gone to the warehouse. So NIP looking great. There is that big space in the middle. TRYFFELI should finish off mxey here. Didn't actually manage to land the hits. NIP instantly moving on this. The second they saw that down, they want to try and get as much third party in as they can. FaZe with 7 kills, underhand nading, but they're about to get backstabbed as well as miikaz and TRYFFELI coming over the hill on ubah.
He might bait with the smoke though. There is potential here. They'll try and... Oh, that's rather unlucky. Trying to take one fight, and now I'll have the information. ubah goes for the revive instantly as ENCE get eliminated. And that's just... It's rather unlucky, but it's rather sick that he gets one player up. But being in those scenarios, it's just where you need to have your head on a swivel and realize that you're in open waters, right?
I mean, FaZe just got saved. Saved by a plucky Brit, as Fex does the job. NIP watching it all play out. DA looking good. GamerLegion almost managed to make their way in towards the compounds, but Reels pops his head out. This is their backyard, the Knights. They may have lost 2 players early on to some sloppy positioning errors, I would say, if anything. I think it's safe to say that. I don't think they're going to be too upset about that one, because they made that play for the ditch and just seemed a little rash at the time.
So, I mean, we've seen him here before. I'm surprised all 4 players, again, we don't know what else was going on amongst the rosters. That's a damn good shot, though, coming out of Scoom. Knocks one, ubah onto the second, gets the finish. So NIP, to say they're actually having the compound, I think they've got a bit overzealous there. They've crept out and looked for kills. They've been punished hard.
Now I'm intrigued here, because there was a Mark 14, and neither of these players went for it, as far as I can tell. So they're choosing to stick with a mini there, ubah. Obviously, they looted Sadovnik earlier on.
I don't think you really have time at this point in the game.
Nah, maybe not. There's Beak over the side. MBS can't get the spray onto mxey, can't get the transfer down. GamerLegion engaging on the other side. FaZe have really got nowhere to keep safe at the moment. Nor the GamerLegion. It's really a battle between these, because they're both running out of cover. Great nade. That's going to cost them. mxey will go down from that one. The circle will just push on the backs, and MBS is going to try and flush it and try and cause as much damage as they can. mxey down. The circle does shrink once again into that center. And the problem is, as you can see, there are no compounds in that center. Where DA are, that's the compound you want right now. As much as a compound, you can call it a little warehouse.
mxey evacuated the building and just throws a Hail Mary there where FaZe goes down. And now we'll see players start to play the Transformers. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier on. VazCo from the opposing side, you'll see 3 teams, Digital Athletics, Reciprocity, N47. They'll take the warehouses. The Knights, they'll run the Transformers. They'll be in the middle. They'll be able to creep down and maybe take cover for...
Cheeky name. Oh, SKUIJKE going for the peak. Where is the cover from ubah? There it is. ubah with the Groza, putting the cover down on SKUIJKE there. So SKUIJKE trying to make the play there. Monkey, meanwhile, has been caught out the side. 3 kills and counting from gxey, just happy plugging away. Don't forget about Gustav, by the way. Gustav still in the north, still working his way up there for TSM, despite the fact his team were taken down earlier on. As Reciprocity, they're really the team. They have to make this move. If they can make this play and wipe out DA, they have a match-winning moment, and that nade might be the big opener.
You can see 2 more being committed.
VazCo.
They'll at least commit all their utility. 6 more is stolen from them. I want to see ubah get involved here. Surely he has level 3 tier gear, especially with the Groza as well. Maybe send 1 person in now as a sniffer dog.
Oh no, Gustav's burning.
The refrag would be there. The ability or the capability to do so at least.
They know exactly where he is. Gustav's pinned. SKUIJKE finds gxey as he was trying to pinpoint Gustav. Back and forward the plays. VazCo making a move. Don't write him out. When the Mitraleius has actually moved out of this warehouse. So while Reciprocity are pushing the warehouse, this is incredible. We're in phase 9 with 7 teams alive. The center point is almost an unplayable area. It's but literally in the power grid area itself.
Oh.
So many single players. NIP looking to try and take down Gustav. They should finish him off here behind the wooden blocks, but they can't quite get him down behind the crate. You can see gxey going for the flush. Will take him down. 5 kills and counting for gxey alone. Big game for him as TSM go down in 7th.
Needed to happen so they can clear the north here and move forward, because they're still being gate kept by Reciprocity. They've got a lot of open ground to cover regardless. I mean, it's the most open ground. There's still things that you can traverse off the back of. Finally, miikaz does get caught out. He was holding on for dear life through the smokes earlier on.
Imagine going down to phase 9 and you're like, we're going out in 6th? Are you what? How is this a thing? With 10 alive. Incredible, incredible stuff as they all move in. NIP move to the one side of it. Reciprocity, they're all a little grouped up here. VazCo doing really quite a lot of problems. DA will get caught out. ABeautflDeath is going to be Monkey that will pick up the frag. Real spotted out the side as soon as he goes for the peek around the corner. gxey has a full vision of him there. He's going to go for the push instead. Very ballsy push here from gxey, but that's how he manages to get the kills. Lines it up, gets number 6 as he goes down. MBS is picked off on the side. Monkey still down, will be knocked, but he did managed to get the knock himself, and his 10 kills and counted for NIP. There is a member of DA, a member of N47, and wanted from the Knights. Reciprocity with 2 alive. They've got to get Monkey back on his feet right now. Have they got the time as VazCo gets another?
And all they need ubah to do is hold the line, which unfortunately this time round he doesn't, but he'll feed the information back to the rest of his teammates. Between these two, this will kind of dictate what Reciprocity, who they have to go up against.
VazCo is looking for Mitraleius here. He knows he's around there. Reciprocity has managed to get the revive of VazCo. Not going to find him. It's going to be SKUIJKE, and now it's VazCo in a 2-on-1. They don't know where he is because they think that smoke was from the DA member. They've got to feel it was there. SKUIJKE finds him. Reciprocity pick up the win. 12 kills. They came in from the east and made it work.
Damn good play there. I mean, ubah at the end, he tried his best, but it was enough to at least give the information back where that one player was lingering.
There's so many snakes, so many individuals, so much danger for a team like that.
He had the level 3 gear, which he survived a fair more bullets than what he should have been able to. Otherwise, he would have fallen, not been able to spin around and get that info of the guy hiding in the back. Although there was only a small amount of place it could have been. SKUIJKE looking toward the Transformers side, not knowing the full information of where the rest of the snakes were. But either way, is that a 21-22 point game for Rec?
Yeah, 12 kills. Massive players from gxey as well in there, obviously picking up 6-7 kills. Actually got Monkey down. I think it was almost a 1-for-1 trade with one another. Monkey, big performance from him there as he stepped up. We knew, obviously, they were the team with the numbers. They had to put the pressure on the back of DA that were in the warehouse and really try and flush them out, but you got to find them. They're tricky to get in there. But Parla, you can see he's making his way over to Reciprocity. Let's see what they got to say.
I am, that is absolutely right, making my way over to the Rec Pack. Congratulations, boys. Initial reactions to that victory, SKUIJKE?
PUBG.
Why? Why PUBG?
I mean, we had 12 kills. It was a pretty good game. We played edge. We cleared our sides, created a lot of space, pushed when we needed to, and Shiv like died early, but he gave really good call outs. So it was just like the whole flow of the game went really well.
Shiv, is that something you focus on as a team when one of you falls, that you still remain communicating and focused?
I mean, yeah, whenever you are dead, you need to be aware of everything, the kill feed most likely, and where teams are playing, and keep a track on who's alive, who's not alive, and yeah, just tell my teammates.
Now, the end of that match was pretty crazy. Very small geographic area, but still a bunch of teams in the mix. How was it coordinating in that frenzy?
Well, Shift did it. Like, Shift coordinated us, and yeah, it was pretty like easy call-outs, easy kills, easy win.
Easy win, easy kills. Final words with mxey then. Good game for you, 5 kills.
Yes, good game. That's it. No, it was a good game at least. Like, every info was good. Like, Shiv told us everything, and I feel like it was a free win.
Really? So in a whole then, you guys definitely think Shiv was crucial to that victory, even though he fell early?
Oh, of course. Like, yeah, he gave us like all info we needed. That's it.
Yeah, it looked like your rotations were very on point as well, and big congrats to you guys for getting the second chicken dinner of the day. For now, let's head back to the desk.
That's right indeed. Big win there for Reciprocity, as mxey may have suggested just before. For him, felt like a free win. So great to see them get a lot of kills and also the victory over towards Power Grid. A little bit more uncommon, getting a Power Grid ending there to finish Miramar off for the day Avenger.
What do you
was
say?
Good.
Common or uncommon?
Uncommon.
We've seen a few
We've seen a
last
few,
week.
but
No, but obviously it's the home territory of the Knights, so it's nice to see Reciprocity be able to kind of come in there. But for me, that was not a free win. They played that so perfect. So everything was just perfectly executed from them. They swept their edges, as Scum said, made sure their backs were safe, and they got coordinated by Shiv. So overall, really well played by those guys. I didn't expect them to win, honestly, because they're kind of in off position, but everything kind of, with everything fighting in the west side and all the teams they came down to only being 2 players in the end, they had an uphand and an upside playing that, so they played that extremely well.
So it all started, I'd say, around Circle 3, I think it was, when they were on the east side Reciprocity. They were sweeping that together. Then they made a split, going 2 to the north, 2 to the south, and playing it from there, 2 duos, making sure that you're covering the whole east side more or less. And also, they were making sure, scouting out, okay, where can we get in? Can we get inside from this side? If the circle shrinks away from us, what do we do? Now, they were thinking about stuff like that. And, I mean, basically, the circle went towards the center, and they could just walk in. And with walking in, they just swept up and killed everybody in their way.
I feel like Reciprocity now, especially with the new roster, but also the past couple of game days, is really gathering some extra momentum now.
They are, and on top of that, like as they have said in previous interviews, they feel like the synergy is really on point now. And yes, they did take 1 week to kind of get everything rustled in together. They were also looting in a different spot compared to what they did in last phase, and especially when you're changing 2 players, it takes some time to kind of get used to, and you kind of want to get into a comfort zone. And now they're really into the groove, and now it's looking really good. I'm really happy to see them how they're playing so far.
I mean, if we remove the first week and just look at the previous weeks, it's been looking good from Reciprocity's side, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely so. Let's take a look at the points coming in. An even spread down towards that 9th and 16th. And we have a relatively even spread apart from Reciprocity with that 22 points up towards the top there. Because a lot of our teams that finished highly here weren't getting that many kills. A lot of them were kind of sat in that middle power grid area, whilst all the other teams around them were kind of fighting and killing each other.
Wait.
Yeah, we also saw there was a lot of teams towards the end there. I mean, down to the last circle, I think D-Man alerted to it. It was 7 teams, 12 people alive down to the last circle.
Martin, what?
Reciprocities might jump into the top 6 with this and put themselves into a PGC spot with this game here. So this is looking pretty damn good for these guys. And starting with this is our second game, gaining your momentum in the start of the week here. This could be looking very promising for these guys.
Could fuel them as
Sure,
well.
I think they're around 8th place with this wins.
They were 8th place before this, right? So
No, they were 10th.
Oh, the 10th before this. This might be this. Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, look
You know
at
what,
here.
Martin? You didn't say
Head-to-head.
anything. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Head-to-head, Reciprocity versus Digital Athletics. Now, we saw DA, they were very early in the power grid there. They were sitting in the big barn on the east side there, and that's where Reciprocity came in from, and they actually had to sweep up Digital Athletics. That was kind of just creeping around in there. They were not making too much noise. They were just sitting there doing not too much.
And well, they did sweep them. They also pushed them. The way they executed on it, making sure they could smoke some of their off angles, taking control of the northern side, making sure an IP died, making sure TSM died. Overall, just taking control of the right positions of the map. Talks to how much kind of map awareness that these guys have. 5 kills on Monkey, 6 on Gaxil. That double nade. Stealing 1 kill of the knock face guys and eliminating the other one, that was a god nade.
That's a smug monkey face. That's a very smug. Look, just, it's like, I'm good.
Imagine this.
Right.
We've talked about this before. But imagine every time you get killed for something, that face just comes like slides in from the side and like, yeah, I got him.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that's all right. Very serious scoom face in the middle as well.
Yeah.
Don't touch my children. Don't do anything. My babies. I'll protect them all.
I know your address.
I know your address. I have a very specific set of skills. All right, moving on. But of course, I think for Reciprocity, if they are pushing themselves ahead, someone like Scoom at the helm of that team, almost kind of like as a figurehead. He's not, the true leader by any means or anything like that, but obviously there would be a lot of vindication if he was able to push this team to great heights, maybe then down the line get to PGC, obviously him being a previous Liquid roster member, and then them trying to challenge for best
And
of the
he
world.
has experience. I mean, that would be a great story, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Going out from Liquid, making a new power roster, assembling this new roster for Phase 3, qualifying, and then being better than Liquid at PGC, wouldn't that be a story?
It's been a long road as well.
Absolutely.
Because there were moments for Reciprocity that didn't look so great. Last phase or whatever, it wasn't the best phase for them. They came out of relegations though, which was very important.
As the only team?
Exactly. And now they look much stronger than ever before for us.
Well, the thing is, we thought they would qualify already in Minsk for the qualifiers
That's
for
true.
PEL.
Yeah.
They barely made it there, and then, I mean, Phase 1, they had to play in the contenders. They kind of crushed it there, came in here for Phase 2, didn't go well at all, but right now it's looking a little bit better, but I feel like they still have more potential than they're showing us right now.
And that kind of finishes Miramar here for today. We're going to be going on to Sanhok, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Sanhok, because again, you guys have so much that you want to say about some of these maps and some of these battlegrounds, but we don't get a huge amount to talk about them. So
For me, Sanhok, obviously the newest map. It's the hardest map. It's the map where we will see the most experienced teams and the teams with the better loot spots come out on top more often. We've seen that already. Some of the teams that have wins there are the more experienced one, are the ones with the better kind of spot. FaZe Clan, Painang, such a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liquid get a good amount of points from it, obviously, as well. They have boot camp, but overall, I really like to see some of our, we saw in 47, able to frag out. I want to see some of our, like, in terms of fragging power, the strong teams that are really mechanically skilled players, I want to see them continue just to frag out. Don't worry about what the placement is, just continue to put out some damage.
Talking about Sanhok, the only thing I can think about is N47, honestly. Because they're literally just wrecking everybody. They're dropping in quarry, and they get contested from time to time as well.
Yeah.
That's not a good place to be playing like this early game from.
Yeah, they're
either.
sharing it with Navi. Navi has the southern part, which is the stronger one as well, so that they're able to come out from the northern side, which is the lesser loot, less accessibility, lesser cars as well. Talks to how good they are.
But it also comes down to how they're rotating on the map, how they're playing together, moving as a unit all the time, and they're being super aggressive because they know we can't just prolong the fights. We need to end them straight up or just keep on going somewhere else. And that's what they're doing so good.
all right, well, of course, you can join in on the conversation as well over on Twitter and ask us questions as well with the hashtag AskPEL. You can ask us serious questions or you can ask us meme questions. We're all for that as well, so keep sending those our way. As for now, we're going to go to a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, here for Phase 3. When we return, we are going to Sanhok. We'll see you soon.